The third covering is fire, which is 10 times greater than the water covering. In this way, each layer is 10 times greater than the previous one. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport. Umajnanatimmirandhasya jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Many years ago, during one of our Rath Yatras, we had to book some guest rooms in the cities to accommodate devotees coming from various centers. So we found it very difficult. The reason was there was one event organized by the state government, some sports, Karnataka Olympics. During the same dates it was. And the DC had ordered that 50% of all the lodges in the city should be reserved for the participants who come for that event from throughout the state, from different districts, students and all the participants to sport event. So they were all booked. And for them, when they come to the railway station, pickup was arranged in various vehicles. They were dropped in their accommodation places. From there, they were picked and dropped in the event venue, their food arrangements, all elaborately done. Thousands of people came and participated. After a few years, another event I remember. This was in Hubli. There was one RSS, some event they had done, 5 days event. From throughout the country, people had come, and it was further away in Gokul Road towards a few more kilometers away. They had taken one agricultural land, and huge city of tents were constructed. Very huge. From throughout the country, a lot of people come, and all temporary structures, huge gateway, the path and whatnot, wonderfully done. And all like accommodation we inquired, like say they were, the participants, they were all some dormitory type accommodation, and for the main people who came, individual, very nicely everything was arranged. And we asked whether our bookstall, can our people also come and stay there? No, it's only for participants, others can come and go, that's it. This was how. So there is some organization done, people getting together for a purpose, and then again dismantling happening, and there is control. So in that sports event, who should come, who should stay, and when they should go, arrangements, all the government control is there. So here, one organization, they are organized such a huge, massive event, thousands of people coming and all of the nice arrangements being done. There is also control, who should come, who should go, everything. So, we ordinary people can organize such things. Now, just imagine the capacity of the Supreme Lord. His Tatastha Shakti, marginal energies, all we living entities, with varied desires. The Supreme Lord, out of compassion towards all these living entities who have become Bahirmukha, averse to the Supreme Lord, want to enjoy independent of the Supreme Lord, a huge arrangement He has made. He has created this material world. Yasyaika nishvasita kalamathavalambya. As Mahavishnu, he lies down in the causal ocean, and through his exhaling, millions of universes whatever comes out of his body, and there he injects all the living entities. And then further Brahma, Visarga, the secondary creation he makes, and different living entities, varieties of bodies, varieties of places, circumstances are created to fulfill their desires and simultaneously help them reform their consciousness. Now their consciousness is degraded in the association of material modes of Rajoguna, Tamoguna and all of these. Help them, elevate those living entities to come to higher levels and to a pure platform, and make them eligible to go back to Godhead. Huge arrangement, temporary arrangement is being made by the Supreme Lord. So here we sing this verse. Nabho dadati shvasatam padam yan niyamat adaha yat niyamat, by whose order, on whose control, on whose instruction, Nabaha dadati shvasatam. Nabaha means the sky, or the ether, or whatever we say. The Lord first He creates the space for living entities. Shvasatam means that to the living entities. Padam, abode. So a place is created for them to go around whatever with their activities. Nabho dadati shvasatam padam yad niyamat adaha. So on the Lord's order, the sky provides space for living entities to sustain. Then lokam swadeham tanute mahan saptabhiravritam. Lokam, the universe, swadeham tanute. The universe, it is said, it is expanding. Tanute, expands. How? Mahan means referring to Mahat Tattva here. Saptabhihi avritam. The universe is expanding along with its 7 layers of covering. I'll read the translation again. Subject to the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sky allows outer space to accommodate all the various planets which hold innumerable living entities. The total universal body expands with its 7 coverings under His supreme control. So here, first few points are mentioned in the purport. Let us try to discuss one by one. So regarding the contents of the universal covering. So as I told, like these universes come out of the body of Mahavishnu, and these universes, just like we are here in one universe, we may not be able to know what's happening in the other universe. We are unable to see. We are unable to, very difficult to go there also. Just to some nearby planet or somewhere, so much difficulty we face. So it's not easy to escape this. So, just in the same another portion of the Bhagavatam, it is mentioned, Kshmambho Anala Anila Viyan Mana Indriyartha Bhutadibhi Parivritam Pratisanji Hirshuhu. After experiencing the inhabitable time of the three modes of material nature, known as two parardhas, Lord Brahma closes the material universe, which is covered by layers of earth, water, air, fire, ether, mind, ego, etc., and goes back to Godhead. So here we can take, like say, the covers, the layers, what it is made up of. Because in another portion of the Bhagavatam and other literatures, different ways it is being explained. So here it is said, the layers are made up of earth, water, fire, air, fire, ether, mind and ego. And here in the purport we see Prabhupada telling, the first layer earth, and this is 10 times the greater in size than the space within the universe, covering of the earth layer. And then the second layer is water, and that is 10 times greater than the earthly layer. So each layer is 10 times bigger than its previous one. So we can conclude how it's such an expansive universe with such a huge covering. So here in the like in another place, this is in case of like description given by Lord Brahma regarding scheduled incarnations. So while describing the activities of Lord Vamana, so we are aware how Vamana, there the translation goes like this: who can describe completely the prowess of Vishnu? Even the scientist who might have counted the particles of the atoms of the universe cannot do so. Meaning, maybe just like you may find one scientist, just like new inventions, discoveries they are making, a day may come when one scientist will come and he will count the number of atoms in this universe. This number he may give. Even such a person cannot completely describe the prowess of Lord Vishnu, because it is he only who in the form of Trivikrama moved his leg effortlessly beyond the topmost planet Satyaloka up to the neutral state of the three modes of material nature, and all were moved. So here it is described, he raised his leg beyond the Satyaloka, the topmost planet, up to the neutral state of the three modes of material nature. There is one neutral state of the three modes of material nature. In the purport, Prabhupada mentions what is this neutral state of the three modes of material nature here. The highest scientific advancement of the material scientists is atomic energy. But the material scientist is not able to have an estimation of the particles of atoms contained in the whole universe. But even if one is able to count such atomic particles or is able to roll up the sky like one's bedding, even then one is unable to estimate the extent of the prowess and energy of the Supreme Lord. He is known as Trivikrama because once in his incarnation of Vamana, he expanded his leg beyond the highest planetary system, Satyaloka, and reached the neutral state of the modes of nature called the covering of the material world. So here Prabhupada explains how this neutral state of the three modes of material nature, that's actually referring to the coverings. the different layers, coverings of the universe. With his toe he made a hole through which the water from the causal ocean filters into the material sky, and the current is known as the sacred Ganges, which purifies the planets of the three worlds. In other words, no one is equal to the transcendently powerful Vishnu. He is omnipotent and no one is equal to or greater than him. So as devotees, this we will take it as more important. Ultimately, through the understanding of all of this atoms or varieties of elements there in the material world, how it is constituted, how it is constructed, the way the different layers are there, and all of these things, these are all the energies of the Supreme Lord, manifestation of varieties of energies of the Supreme Lord. And the Supreme Lord, He personally comes and performs varieties of activities, and He attracts the living entities towards Him and help them go back along with Him to His abode. Then one more point let us consider. Now, just in reference to the previous classes wherein these things were mentioned about gravity and many other things. So one devotee asked this question. Scientists, they have discovered the laws of gravity. Now they come up with this law, and then we people, so-called followers of the Vedas, propounders or who speak on the Vedic literatures, the Bhagavatam philosophy, then we say, yes, that gravity is the energy of the Lord. Before that you did not know. Scientists first, they come up with one theory or they come up with one new discovery, and then we simply go and claim, this actually belongs to God, this is an energy of the Lord. Actually you people have not discovered anything. This was the argument. So actually how it is, the energy of the Supreme Lord, in varieties of ways it's mentioned in the Bhagavatam. Even maybe thousands of years before, the scientists discovered and given certain name. That's all. So this example, I started explaining how. One verse from the Bhagavad Gita, in the 15th chapter, Krishna says, Gama vishyacha bhutani dharayami ahamojasa pushnami cha aushadhi sarva somo bhutva rasatmakaha. So here Prabhupada translates this verse as, I enter into each planet and by my energy they stay in orbit. I enter into each planet and by my energy they stay in orbit. So we say all the earth, the different planets in the solar system are revolving around the sun. It is because that's the gravitational force of the sun, and such explanations are there. So ultimately, who is there inside the sun? Who is there inside the planets to facilitate all this mechanism? So the Lord already He has made it clear. I enter into each planet and by my energy, all of them stay in orbit. So as I told earlier, the Lord, He has got multifarious energies. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate. And through various energies, various varieties of ways, He manifests. Through His internal potency, various leelas He performs. Through His external energy, He has created this huge material world. And all of these different laws, different energies, working in different varieties of ways, we see they are acting. So for all of them, ultimately, it's the Supreme Lord who is the source. Now, We may, through our whatever modern technology, through scientific advancement, we may identify here and there certain things and we may give one name to them. But all of them, already these things have been well nicely explained in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam and other Vedic literatures. We only need to take this knowledge from the descending source and try to understand. Now, I read the purport to this verse also. Very beautifully, two examples are given here, which helps us understand how the universe is being maintained. Because externally looking, giving some different names, certain laws and this and that, there is tendency for us to ultimately forget the Supreme Lord. This law, this energy, this matter, this control, hundreds of things we may speak, but ultimately everything is personally controlled by the Supreme Lord. How? Let us see. It is understood that all the planets are floating in the air only by the energy of the Lord. The Lord enters into every atom, every planet and every living being. That is discussed in the Brahma Samhita. Andantarasta paramanu chayantarastam govindamadi purusham, we have heard. It is said there that one plenary portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Paramatma, enters into the planets, the universe, the living entity and even into the atom. So, due to his entrance, everything is appropriately manifested. So it may be the living entities, it may be the different bodies, it may be the different planets, it may be the multitude of universes itself. Everything are being sustained by the Supreme Lord after He enters into it. So one example, the first example given there, when the spirit soul is there, a living man can float on the water. But when the living spark is out of the body and the body is dead, the body sinks. Of course, when it is decomposed, it floats just like straw and other things. But as soon as the man is dead, he at once sinks in water. Similarly, all these planets are floating in space, and this is due to the entrance of the supreme energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this example is very easy for us to understand, of a living man and a dead body. Till the time he is living, he may swim and keep himself afloat when he is pushed inside water. But once a person dies, he sinks. He will not remain floating on the water. So likewise, we see all these different planets, universes, planets floating in the air, and universes, lying in the Karana ocean, all of these. And we living entities, we are all able to move around here, walk, and because of various forces, laws which are created here, they are all ultimately because of the Lord's presence. Another example, His energy is sustaining each planet just like a handful of dust. Dust, we take handful of dust. How? Let us see. If someone holds a handful of dust, there is no possibility of the dust falling. But if one throws it in the air, it will fall down. Take a handful of dust, and if it is thrown or leave your hand, the dust immediately falls off, it becomes scattered. But it will remain in the hand till the person is holding it in his fist. Similarly, these planets which are floating in the air are actually held in the fist of the universal form of the Supreme Lord. See, these planets, these are all being held up in the fist of the universal form of the Supreme Lord. By His strength and energy, all moving and non-moving things stay in their place. Moving and non-moving things stay in their place. Just like a few days before we heard in one lecture, it is because of gravitational force that we are able to walk around. What if the force was not there? If gravity is not there, maybe we would have floated and everyone would have stuck to the rooftops, or something else would have happened. Everything just floating around, nothing, we are unable to grasp anything. Such a situation would have been completely different. So all of these things, it is by the strength, energy of the Lord. It is by His strength and energy, all moving and non-moving things stay in their place. It is said in the Vedic hymns that because of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sun is shining and the planets are steadily moving. Were it not for Him, all the planets would scatter just like dust in air and perish. So if not for the Supreme Lord, without His control, without His His energy, His personal intervention, all the planets would have scattered just like particles of dust in air. It's the Lord who is maintaining all of them through His personal energies. So this we need to understand. So this is how things are being explained in this portion of the Bhagavatam. So it is by the Lord's control, the Lord's order, just like in all of these sequence of verses we are seeing. Just small recap we can have now. Out of fear of the Supreme Lord, the wind blows. Out of His fear, the sun shines. Due to fear of Him, the rain pours forth showers, and different heavenly bodies, they shine. And out of His fear, the trees, the creepers, the herbs, the seasonal plants and flowers blossom and fructify in their seasons. And out of fear of Him, the rivers flow, the oceans never overflow. The river will flow, the ocean, no, don't overflow. It will not overflow, it will remain in one, equilibrium. And then the fire burns, the earth does not sink inside the water of the universe. Likewise, subject to His control, on His order, the sky provides space for all living entities to sustain, and then the total universal body expands with its 7 coverings under His supreme control. So these are the varieties of ways we need to understand that everywhere, everything ultimately is controlled by the Supreme Lord. If at all foolish people we think or we speak in our own terms, oh, I control this, Shri Krishna Balarama ki. We may be some tiny controllers, but ultimately it is the Supreme Lord who is the controller. And how much power He has given us, we have derived from Him, so much we can control. And He has given means we need to remember at any given point of time He can take back also. So with this we will conclude. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.